Good morning, shit biscuits. Alright, I'll be the first to admit, I don't really give a shit what age demographic watches my videos. Cause quite frankly, it's not my responsibility to look after that shit. But to keep the communism of YouTube off my back, I will go ahead and say that if you are under the age of 18, I would not advise you watch these videos. Cause these tend to get violent and have a lot of cussing. Again, I personally don't give a fuck. But at the same time, I'm not about to leave myself open for an attack. So, 18 or older, you're cool. Under that, I wouldn't recommend it.
So I'm re-uploading Godzilla against Mechagodzilla 2002 again. Honestly, I'm not really that upset about it this time, because the last time I uploaded it, I mentioned how I couldn't do a Godzilla Final Wars review, and turns out that was actually wrong, and I had uploaded that video before I could update anyone about that. So, here's the Godzilla against Mechagodzilla 2002 re-upload once again, and, yeah guys, I'm honestly just happy I got to see one of my favorite Godzilla movies again. I love this one. So, yet another reboot. What the fuck, guys? Why are we oh. Oh. Oh, shit. Okay, I'm game. Let's do this. So, Noah, back from whatever adventures you had during the last episode, I see.
Very much so.
Alright. Are you ready then, good sir, to cover Godzilla against Mechagodzilla from 2002?
Indeed I am.
Very well then, sir.
And funny enough, I may have missed the last movie, but I still don't get to miss some ghostly action.
No, you do not have to miss ghostly action, because this film, once again, just like the last movie, well, a good chunk of this movie and the next one is actually inspired and heavily focuses on human morality, much less in the spirituality department. And yeah, so, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let us get into the film. First things first, director Masaki Tezuka, actually returns. And, yeah, basically the reason for this movie's, existence was the fact that after the success of GMK, yeah, Toho decided that because GMK did so well, in no small part due to the fact that they included Mothra and Ghidorah, two of Godzilla's most iconic foes, they decided, you know what? It would probably be good for profit. Let's bring back Mechagodzilla. And call him something completely different. Kiryu. Noah?
And a completely different timeline as well.
Yes, because just like the goddamn last three movies, this is another fucking reboot.
Yep.
So yeah, Noah, would you, like to list the cast?
Aye, Captain. This is a larger cast.
Yes, it is a very large cast.
Miko Shaku as JXSDF Lieutenant Akane Yashiho, the main human protagonist. Funny enough, I find it funny that it literally just says the main human protagonist.
Well, yeah, with how much these people tend to shove human characters into their films, I mean, it gets a little confusing sometimes.
Yeah, understandable. Anyways, Shin Takuma as Tokomitsu Yuhara.
You having difficulties, Noah?
Yeah, I'm a bit out of it today.
I'm sorry.
It's fine. Tao Kasugi as JXSDF Colon. What the fuck? Colonel Takashi. Akira okay, oh fuck, I'm screwing up royally here. Oh god. Colon Takashi, Akira Nakao as Prime Minister Hayato Igarashi, Yusuke Tomoe as the XSDF Second Lieutenant Susumu Hayama, and Shiso Mizuno as JXDF First Lieutenant Kenji Sakine, Kumi Mizuno as Prime Minister Machiko Shuge, Yoshikazu Kono as Hishinuma, and I've got Takeo Nakahara. Wait, did I say? Okay, there's 4 A's. Takeo Nakahara, yeah, as JXDF Chief Ichiyangi.
Yep.
Koichi Ueda as
I have a
Dobashi.
feeling when the writers for this film were creating the names for the main human characters, I have a feeling that someone just decided to hand some random people on the street a handful of Japanese names and just said fuck it, because this film has some of the most outlandish Japanese names I've ever heard.
Anyways, we got Midori Hagio as Kaori Yamada, Akira Shirai as Shinji Akamatsu, Naomasa Rokudaya as Dr. Goto Kano, Shinji Morisu as JXDF First Lieutenant. We got Natsuo Nakamura as Nishizawa. I believe that was the kaiju, wasn't there?
Yes, the kaiju. Do you want me to list the kaiju?
I know, I'm just asking if Nishizawa, because it's been a while since I've seen the movie, so.
No.
Okay, never mind. Huh.
No, there are only 2 monsters in this movie, Godzilla and Kiryu.
Tsutomu Kitagawa as Godzilla. And then we have freaking, hold on. I need to hype myself up. Fuck drum roll is that?
Don't know.
We got Hirofumi Ishigaki as Mechagodzilla, otherwise known from this movie as Kiryu.
I'm actually going to go ahead and make an executive decision here. We are going to talk about the human action first, because the human aspect of this film, I personally don't think it's as good as the last movie, but it's still pretty damn stellar. Yeah. So here's the thing. The human aspect of this film. As I said, we will discuss Akane in a minute, but the human aspect of this film, once again, every single actor here brings their A game, and unfortunately, there is a very nonsensical side plot in this little girl who, her mother died when trying to deliver, her unborn brother and or sister, and that side plot actually ends up going nowhere, and it's unfortunate because she does genuinely do a spectacular job acting in this film. However, that is not the best part of this movie. By far, the best part of this movie is the main female protagonist, Akane. As I said in the last movie, GMK, as well as this movie and the next, feature my 2 favorite human characters throughout the entirety of the Godzilla franchise. Akane is masterfully done in this movie. However, she catches a lot of heat because, well, at the time, Evangelion was a very popular anime, and Godzilla against Mechagodzilla catches a lot of heat for ripping off Evangelion. That's a little bullshit, but whatever.
I mean, since I did watch the anime, I can see certain scenes that they would compare it to.
Yeah, I can see that too, and I do understand. But at the same time, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that just because this movie had a similar idea, because it's a good idea, means that they completely ripped it off entirely. I'm not going to sit here and pretend. And yeah, Akane in this movie is absolutely spectacular. And honestly, I have a feeling that, like, me personally, I think she's one of the more attractive, actresses we've seen in a Godzilla movie yet. Go ahead, make the simp jokes now, what the hell ever, fools. But now with the human aspect out of the way, let's go ahead and do a brief rundown of the film. So, once again, as this is another goddamn reboot, after the first Godzilla ravaged Tokyo in 1954, it seems as though he actually put a curse on Japan, because ever since the original Godzilla attacked, well, Japan keeps being attacked by giant monster after giant monster. And surprisingly enough, some of the Showa-era kaiju films that Toho made are actually canon in this film. Don't really know why, considering they are rather unorthodox, but, you know, whatever. However, 45 years later, the second generation of Godzilla has appeared, and it attacks a small mountain town pursuing targets unknown. That is a very important thing about this movie that they completely fuck up in the second movie. We don't ever actually get to know in this movie why Godzilla came ashore in the first place. And the explanation in the second movie is so goddamn stupid, I don't even count it. But, you know, what the hell ever. However, Japan, after being attacked by the second generation of Godzilla, they decide that, hey, you guys remember the skeleton of the original Godzilla that's hidden underneath the ocean? Let's go find that and build a gigantic fucking robot around it. And call it Mechagodzilla. Noah, how the hell did these people come up with these ideas?
Random bullshit?
You can say that again sometimes, bro. But yeah. Meanwhile, all this is going on, like I said, Akane, during the first attack of the second generation Godzilla, she actually accidentally got one of her, friends, killed in the fight. And as a result, she actively pursues life improvement and tries to better herself as a soldier so nothing ever happens again. And yeah. Basically, after they build Kiryu, they go and find her to be the pilot of Kiryu again, and after a short discussion, she is convinced to join the team. Now, this is where things get complicated. Because they use the original bones of the 1954 Godzilla. The evil bastard that wants to kill everything it sees. And as a result, at literally any time, the spirit of the original Godzilla can completely override the mech systems, take control of its body, and do whatever the hell it wants. And the first time it does it, he goes straight back to where he thought he was in 1954 and attacks the city of Tokyo. Or at least I'm assuming it's Tokyo. They don't really specify, and if they do, it's in a blink and you'll miss it scene. So yeah, can Kiryu overcome the second generation of Godzilla, and can the humans keep the spirit of the original Godzilla from taking control of the mech again and causing even more havoc? Noah?
Find out right now.
Yep. And yeah, the reason why we discussed the human aspect before the brief rundown of the movie is because I feel as though the human aspect and the monster aspect are so drastically different and unconnected. They just don't feel right. They do make active attempts to connect the two, but at the end of the day, they're just so different. It just doesn't, like, it feels like two different films connected to each other. And we are going to see another film like that here in 2 movies. But, more on that depressing topic later. Noah? Which monster do you want to talk about first? Kiryu or Godzilla?
So it's a hard one, actually, because... You know what? Let's actually talk about Mechagodzilla first. Otherwise known as Kiryu.
Yes. Alright, Kiryu. Okay, this dude is amazing. Kiryu in this film, and yes, I'm going to be referring to him as Kiryu because in the comic books, basically Kiryu was described as being so far advanced and evolved beyond computer programming that it shouldn't even qualify as Mechagodzilla anymore. So I'm going to be calling him Kiryu. Y'all can call him Mechagodzilla if you want. I'm going to be calling him Kiryu. Kiryu in this film looks like a samurai in a metal Godzilla suit. No, how else do you explain that? He looks legendary. Just look at this thing.
Kiryu for the legendary burst.
Oh, that would be interesting. But yeah, no, Kiryu's design is absolutely amazing. I love the extra added gear that Kiryu gets, like the jetpack that can detach, as well as his wrist gauntlets that have blades and extra guns on them. And honestly, bro, I really like the design they had for Kiryu, designing it to look more like a robotic skeleton, basically mirroring the fact that the original Godzilla's skeleton is inside this thing. And yeah, bro, this thing's arsenal. Good God. I mean, it's not nearly as impressive as the first 2 Mechagodzillas, but it's still pretty damn good. I don't know half of what these guns are called, at least not on the wrist gauntlets, but it, like I said, it already has a blade that can fire out of, that can eject from the gauntlet, that it can basically use to deliver an electrical shock to its opponent. It has what I'm assuming is rail guns or something that it can also shoot out of those gauntlets. It has the ability to fly. It has a variety of different missile types, each of which, well, they don't really do much to Godzilla because it's Godzilla, but, you know, whatever. And then we have Kiryu's 2 main powerful abilities. One, it's a mouth laser. It's basically a maser cannon that is much more powerful than a standard maser cannon. So it's nothing really new there. However, we do have to talk about Kiryu's main weapon. Y'all thought it was scary when they shot a black hole at the Earth from space to kill Godzilla? Fuck no! This is scary. The Absolute Zero Cannon. Noah, do you have anything to say about this thing?
Well, let's just say that, that man think he has it out for his frozen villain. Oh shit, we got an Absolute Zero Cannon that fucking destroys everything in its path.
Yeah, no shit. Okay, so here's how the Absolute Zero Cannon works. The Absolute Zero Cannon is basically an energy beam that can freeze things to a temperature so damn low that not only does it freeze it, but the energy itself is so powerful that it can freeze and liquefy atoms on a molecular level. Once again, if the Japanese government in these movies has technology that can do that shit, why the hell are they not trying to solve world hunger or some shit like that? Because they can do it in, I'm gonna just go ahead and say a month, if that. And actually, Kiryu's Absolute Zero Cannon is actually very important for later, because this is one of the main reasons why I think that Godzilla in this film is one of the strongest Godzillas in the, not just the Millennium series, but in the whole franchise. I'm not stupid enough to say he is the strongest, but he's definitely up there. Now, as for, actually, I don't think there's really anything else to say about Kiryu. Oh yeah, there's also a little bit more. Kiryu, actually gets a major increase in speed, once he drops his jetpack, because, apparently that jetpack was heavy enough to limit his movement. Don't know how, but whatever, I'm not gonna question it. And once Kiryu ditches this pack, he is capable of essentially outmaneuvering Godzilla in almost every facet of combat. He can dodge Godzilla's attacks, he can move at damn near super speed levels of speed, and he can dodge Godzilla's atomic breath with ease. So that at least makes him at light speed. And then there's the simple fact that when Kiryu drops that pack, well, basically he becomes less durable, even though the simple fact of the matter is Kiryu wasn't really that durable to begin with. The majority of the film, Kiryu spends trying to avoid Godzilla's attacks because it can't really take a lot of damage from Godzilla. And that brings us to Kiryu's main weakness. Kiryu has plenty of energy to fight Godzilla, but he can only fight for 2 hours at a time, because once he stops fighting, or once he's been fighting for a while, and once his 2-hour time limit runs out, he completely runs out of juice and shuts down. Which, I mean, okay, that's a reasonable way to introduce a weakness for Kiryu, but if that's the case, then why didn't they do that shit with the first two Mechagodzillas? Actually, I can see why they didn't do that with the first Mechagodzilla, seeing as how it was from space. But, you know, it just feels like a cheap way to force the plot along.
I guess you could say that. At least this movie tried to put some level of realism to this.
Yeah, I can see that, but, you know, it's just... it's just unfortunate, especially when frickin' Kiryu in the comics is so much better. He can literally fight for frickin' almost a day without having to be recharged. But none of that matters anymore. Now, we get to what is my personal favorite part of this film. Godzilla. Noah, my prayers have been answered. I have seen God, and He has gifted me this glorious Godzilla suit. Godzilla in this movie is goddamn flawless. I absolutely adore this suit. Godzilla straight up looks like everything that I've ever wanted out of a Godzilla. First of all, his color palette. He has black skin and white dorsal plates again, as well as his standard blue atomic breath. His tail is long and a little bit more slender than he had it in the Meyer Goji films. And his dorsal plates actually look like they were all each individually recrafted. Yeah, that's actually really cool that they did that. But more than that, dude, just look at this man's head and face. This suit is affectionately called Kiryu Goji, and Kiryu Goji is my favorite Godzilla design in the entirety of the franchise. His head It basically looks like a cross between a crocodile and Anguirus. And the reason I say Anguirus is because of the slightly, like, curved jaw. And I absolutely love that they put that, subtle little nod in there. Whether they did that intentionally or not, I still love it, and I think it was amazing. And not only that, but we need to talk about Godzilla and the way he fights. Just like in the Mechagodzilla movies, Godzilla in combat in this movie. He actively adapts to the situation whenever he starts to lose the fight. And he adapts his fighting style pretty much on the fly. They do try to portray in a more slow and, like, less advanced way in this movie. But nevertheless, I mean, Godzilla being able to adapt on the fly like that is always going to be a plus for me. Because this is Godzilla we're talking about. He is supposed to have years and decades worth of fighting experience. So, I always love it when they display Godzilla having some sort of adaptability. And especially when Godzilla's atomic breath in this film is a little underwhelming. Don't get me wrong, it looks cool and it looks great, but Kiryu isn't made of space metal or metals from the future or anything, so how the hell is his atomic breath not instantly ripping a hole in Kiryu's chest? I mean, I'm assuming that they went ahead and made Kiryu out of the strongest metal on Earth, titanium, but we have seen Godzilla completely rip through titanium-based, metals that are based on either titanium or some metals that are slightly weaker with relative ease. So, I do think that despite Godzilla's atomic breath looking fantastic in this movie, I do think that is his weakest asset in battle. Noah, your thoughts on the monsters?
Monsters, they're fucking great. Amazing. Especially the designs.
Dude, I love them. I freaking love the way Kiryu looks. I love the way Godzilla looks. And I love watching these two fight on screen. Like I said in the Mechagodzilla films, it genuinely feels like you're watching a Dragon Ball Z fight when you watch these two on screen. And honestly, I love that about these movies because, you know, it's me. My childhood was Godzilla and Dragon Ball. So, I mean, just being able to make that comparison just makes me feel happy inside. And now, Noah?
Also, bringing back up a thing you said earlier about the whole armor thing somehow weighing Kiryu down.
Yeah.
We both know there's a certain character in our favorite anime that does the exact same thing.
Yep.
With a cape.
Yep. Cue the Piccolo soundtrack. Yeah, I mean, I understand why some people would say that this movie rips off a lot of its stuff from other products and shit, but honestly, I don't really give a shit because this movie doesn't just because this movie had similar ideas does not mean that it straight up ripped them off. A great example of that is Megamind and Despicable Me, but that's a topic for another video entirely. So yeah, Noah.
If we ever do bring those up.
What?
If we ever do bring those up in another video.
Oh, we probably will. Anyways, though, Noah, who would you recommend this film to audience-wise?
Probably around teenagers, because I think children have to wait a bit for the good action. They might get bored a bit, but in terms of age, I'd say younger folk would be willing to watch this.
Alright, well, I can understand that. Honestly, bro, yeah, I totally agree with you. Definitely an older audience, I would recommend this film to. Because honestly, with all the shit that they try to force down your throat with the, human morality and shit, I don't really feel as though children would understand it, and even if they did, I don't really think they should be subjected to that shit, because it just seems like a little too much for kids. And yeah. That's just me though. I would recommend this film to, obviously, sci-fi fans. Sci-fi fans more so than actual Godzilla fans, which also I would recommend this movie to hardcore Godzilla fans. But dude, sci-fi fans are going to absolutely adore Kiryu. Not only because of the interesting angle where they use the original Godzilla's bones to build him, but simply because of just how weird his story is, and just how freaking incomprehensible it is sometimes. And I feel like that's somewhat by design. And actually, now that you mention it, yeah, Kiryu in this film, he does actually end the film in a draw against Godzilla. Much like the original, King Kong vs. Godzilla film in 1962, Godzilla and Kiryu end this movie in a draw. So if you want to see a conclusive battle where these two actually fight each other to the death, unfortunately you're not gonna get that here. But yeah. And yeah, bro. I mean, just the fact that Godzilla survived the absolute zero cannon at point-blank range, mind you. I can't get enough of this Godzilla design, dude. I can't. It's awesome.
One could say his durability is off the charts.
Literally, bro. Literally. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that was Godzilla against Mechagodzilla from 2002. And honestly, I mean, I'm half tempted to say that if it wasn't for the original Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla 1993 Heisei film, I'm tempted to say that this would be my favorite Godzilla film, but honestly, I don't really think that would be fair. This is absolutely my favorite Godzilla design, but I'm not gonna be biased and say that this is my favorite Godzilla film because of it. Because, flat out, it's not. And, in fact, there are two, Millennium era Godzilla films that I actually find better than this one. So yeah, bro. With that being said, we are now going to move on. And now, Noah, be ready, because tomorrow we are reviewing the first in the Millennium series to not be a reboot. Join us tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen, as we cover Godzilla Tokyo SOS from 2003.
See ya, folks.
Hello again, ladies and gentlemen. Just a quick reminder before the end of the video, I would like to ask y'all to like, comment, and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. And if you'd be so inclined, I would not mind it if y'all would share this video with anyone you deem fit. But with that being said, that's everything we have for today, and have a good one.